Next on Fox 8 News at 10 o'clock, a popular talk show host makes a shocking announcement about his health. New information tonight on his condition.
It's about summer and driving down the road, but most of all, it's coming to an end. It's about getting you into your choice of an award-winning Chrysler or Plymouth car or minivan before summer ends. About getting $1,000 introductory cash allowance on the new 2000 Plymouth Neon. On other select models, get low APRs or low lease rates. The Chrysler Plymouth Summer Clearance. It all ends soon. See your Chrysler Plymouth dealer today.
Mom, I'm nervous. Austin?
You're gonna do great. Kansas,
Topeka,
Hawaii,
Honolulu, Atlanta, Sacramento.
you are good.
Keep them coming, Mom.
Now a study confirms what you've always known. A smart breakfast like this with whole grain oat Cheerios helps kids do better in school.
Mom, give me a tough one.
Vermont.
Montpelier.
The one and only Cheerios.
She can help you with the tough ones.
Mom.
Coming up, engulfed in fire as a garage explodes. How did a local man make it out alive?
A father is accused of setting his son's hands on fire. Tonight, he's out of jail.
A local man dies, his sperm harvested. Now his widow tells us how love and family can defy death.
Plus, there is still time for you to get in on the act. Thousands line up to join Drew Carey in Cleveland. Fox 8 News at 10 starts now.
Just thank God I'm alive. Because I know what I went through trying to get out of that garage.
How could anyone have survived the explosion that ripped through this garage? Tonight, first on Fox, one of the men engulfed in the fireball tells his story. Good evening, everyone. A gas leak, a lit cigarette, and an explosion that levels a garage. Witnesses say that they cannot believe anyone could survive.
But tonight, as Fox 8 News reporter Dave Nethers explains, while one man remains hospitalized, another is going home.
I heard my match, and that's when the explosion hit. All I was in a big ball of fire. And I just said, I can't die in here. I have a beautiful girlfriend, and I have two beautiful kids. I says, I'm not going to die in here.
Charles Fultz has burns over both of his hands and arms, injuries to his shoulder and his head. But he thanks God he is alive.
How I got out of there, I don't know. I guess it was a willpower.
Charles was inside this garage showing his car to a cousin when at the garage door his cousin struck a match to light his cigarette. Charles remembers everything that happened next.
As soon as that match fired, that's when it blew. It come wrapped right around me. It was just one big ball of fire. It was unbelievable. Frightening. And I've seen the opening, and that's when I crawled through the fire. And
when I arrived, the garage was engulfed in flames, and Chuck was on the ground. And
Charles' cousin Karen Bloom was 2 blocks away when she heard the explosion. It was her brother who lit the match. When she got to the scene, she found Charles on the ground.
Oh, he looked bad on the scene. He did. He looked worse than my brother did at that time.
Charles says he has been concerned about a natural gas line in the garage for years, but it was apparently another line he never knew about, one buried underneath the garage that leaked. He says he had smelled gas for months, but an inspector told him there was no leak.
They came out and they checked the ground, checked all over the door, and they said there's no gas leak here. Exactly as the guy said.
After thinking for a time he might never get out of the garage alive, getting out of the hospital is something Charles says puts the frailty of life in perspective, and it has brought him closer to the people he loves.
It's the wrong way to bring people closer together, though. But
Timothy Harkwell is Charles' cousin. He's the man who lit the match. He remains in Cleveland's Metro Health Medical Center's burn unit tonight. I'm told that he has burns extensively over his face, but the family tells me that he too is improving. Now, Charles says that he knew that the line between the house and the garage was capped, was turned off at both ends because of a possible leak in that line, so there was no gas going through there. Very, very frightening to him that this was caused, Tim and Wilma, by a line underneath the garage that he had no idea was there.
Goodness.
Now, Dave, did he smell gas in the garage before the explosion?
Tim, he said that over a period of weeks that there was a growing scent, that familiar odor of gas in the garage. But he again had been told by an inspector before that there was no leak anywhere in that garage.
Yeah, but that odor is unmistakable.
Oh, it certainly is.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, Dave Nethers reporting for us live.
Now, a chemical fire leaves firefighters at its mercy and causes the evacuations of hundreds of people.
Fox 8 News reporter Dave Summers is live in Ashtabula with the very latest on this story for us tonight. Dave?
Well, in this location at Route 11 and East 6th Street is where the police and firefighters set up a command center, and everyone east of this location was evacuated to avoid this impending chemical cloud.
John Bach and his wife Babette were safely out of harm's way at the time this cloud of sodium hydroxide was passing near their house. They returned because their 3 dogs, Breakwall, Domino, and Rugby, were not.
Yeah, they're like the kids.
They're my babies. I mean, they're my kids. They're mine,
You're going to need to evacuate the area. Once again, you're going to need to evacuate your homes.
The Locks, like 200 other Northeast Ashtabula homeowners, were ordered to evacuate.
It is a big concern. If the wind shifts this way, that's what I'm worried about. See, you can't, you don't know whether the wind's going to shift or not.
Roger Knapp was most concerned about his 87-year-old mother, Marjorie, who doesn't get around that easily.
This is terrible stuff. Number one, it can get your lungs. You could die, or else if it mixes with moisture, it might even explode.
The chemical cloud originated at RMI Sodium. The plant is in its 2nd year of a shutdown. 3 operators were working with highly volatile sodium metal. The stuff caught on fire and it got out of hand.
It causes a lot of irritation when you inhale it. It's very alkaline. So if you inhale it, you get warning properties right away, and you get a lot of irritation in your throat and that sort of thing.
Can it kill you?
Well, in sufficient quantities, it could be very harmful.
Residents were hoping for a favorable wind. Firefighters were finally able to knock down the blaze. And after 4 hours, residents were able to go back home.
And fortunately, there were no serious injuries as a result of that fire. And Wilma, that chemical cloud did dissipate before harming anyone seriously.
Thank goodness for that. What have you found out, Dave, about possible EPA violations?
Well, RMI says that the Environmental Protection Agency came in to investigate, and because that this chemical was contained to one building, didn't go outside of that, there won't be any kind of violations against the company.
All right, Dave Summers reporting for us live tonight. Thanks.
A West Side man holds off the police and the Cleveland SWAT team for hours tonight. The man barricaded himself in an apartment building on West 101st in Detroit, and then after a couple of hours, he finally gave himself up peacefully. Police say he did not have a gun. Local residents believe it's a bad idea opening up a Goodwill store in their neighborhood, and tonight they got their way. The Maple Heights Planning Commission denied a permit application for a Goodwill store to open up on Dunham Road. Residents were against that store because they thought it would attract the wrong people to their community.
A local father accused of setting his own son on fire is back home tonight after posting bond. As Fox 8 News reporter Kevin Freeman tells us, the 48-year-old man faces several charges after police say he poured lighter fluid on his son's hands and lit them.
I didn't think he was capable of doing something like that. He was always a nice, quiet man.
48-year-old Alan Gump goes before a judge accused of aggravated arson and child endangering, both felonies. Police say last Monday he caught his 7-year-old son playing with matches. So to show the boy how dangerous that can be, investigators say he doused his hands with lighter fluid and lit them.
Gump's daughter told me off camera that she doesn't know why her father did what he did. She describes him as a nice man who cares about his children, and she says he told them he needs help.
But relatives did not specify exactly what type of help he says he needs.
He was a quiet person, laid back, and just watched his children, watched the family. He used to go across the park and play with snakes with all the children in the neighborhood, and they used to enjoy him.
He was a very nice guy. He used to say that I was allowed in his house to play with his kids and see the snakes a lot.
Amanda Lugo says she and her brothers and sisters often played with the 7-year-old.
He never fights with us. He used to come. He used to say that if we wanted to come over to his house to pray, because sometimes his brothers weren't there and he didn't have nobody to play with.
Police say it was a neighbor that saw the boy's burned hands and called police. Now, some of the boy's neighborhood friends just want to be sure he's okay.
I said, I'm sorry your hands got burned. I hope you come back later on. I do miss you.
Kevin Freeman, Fox 8 News.
All right, Kevin, the boy is expected to recover from his burns. He and two of his brothers are now in the custody of Children and Family Services.
Is the city of Cleveland a kid-friendly city? Well, not according to a Washington-based group. The environmental group Zero Population Growth gave Cleveland a D grade overall. Its survey ranks Cleveland 19th among the nation's 25 major cities after 7 categories were surveyed. CSU Urban Affairs professor Warnie Reed says the report is accurate.
We have like 43% of the families in Cleveland are in poverty. That cannot be a healthy situation for children to grow up in.
Mayor White says he's not familiar with the group that made the survey or the accuracy of its data, but he says with a drop in the crime rate and improvements in air quality and recreation, the city simply did not deserve a D.
Coming up, her husband has passed away, but she can have his baby years from now. Details on a local couple's story of lasting love. And a talk show host makes a shocking announcement about his health. What's wrong with Montel Williams? Also, the latest from Texas as crews begin to total up the damage from Hurricane Brett. Tim and I will be right back.
You're watching Cleveland's own Fox 8 News at 10 with Tim Taylor, Wilma Smith, Dick Goddard's weather, and John Telich and Tony Rizzo with sports.
It's about summer and driving down the road, but most of all, it's coming to an end. It's about getting you into your choice of an award-winning Chrysler or Plymouth car or minivan before summer ends. About saving before the summer is over with a $1,000 to $1,250 cash allowance on select Chrysler and Plymouth minivans. Or low 1.9% APR. The Chrysler Plymouth Summer Clearance. It all ends soon. See your Chrysler Plymouth dealer today.
I'm just a simple, complicated woman. Contradiction, a fragrance for a woman from Calvin Klein.
Your gift with any $44 contradiction purchase at Kaufman's.
We brought you the newest Dodge Neon with everything from more total interior room to a redesigned transmission so you can grin from gear to gear. Now here's what else is new. The Dodge Summer Clearance with extremely low financing on Neon. Or a generous cash allowance, which makes your new Neon extremely affordable. What's new from the new Dodge? Just catch the Dodge Summer Clearance.
Pools, patio furniture, and hot tubs are up to 70% off during the closeout sale, but only at
Leisure Time Warehouse.
Technologically advanced.
Imagine an auto show with no admission charge. And not only can you look at the latest makes and models like Chevrolet, Toyota, BMW, Cadillac, Olds, Pontiac, GMC, Buick, Lexus, and Ford. You can actually drive one home. That pretty much describes classic. With 10 new car dealerships, it's an auto show every day. You won't find a great selection like this anywhere else.
It's all right here for you.
The Cleveland Live Taste of Cleveland returns to Nautica Labor Day weekend.
The Cleveland Red Cross is sending 2 of its workers now to help in the hurricane relief efforts of southern Texas. The 2 left from Hopkins International Airport earlier this evening. Hurricane Brett, by the way, has now been downgraded to a tropical storm, but the coast is not clear yet. The winds have died down, but Tropical Storm Brett is still dropping a lot of rain on parts of Texas.
Flash flood warnings are in effect all over the southern part of the Lone Star State. And as Fox News reporter Brett Baer explains, that storm wasn't as bad as many thought it would be.
Hurricane Brett didn't pack the punch many thought it would. In fact, tonight, the main concern here in Texas is flooding. 9 counties here are in a flood warning, 30 are in a flood watch. The total damage from the hurricane was minimal. Many people here say it could have been far worse. A tattered Texas flag, a dangling traffic light, stadium lights on the infield, gas station overhangs in the street. The remnants of Brett, A hurricane that by size and strength should have been far more devastating.
No